Surreal islands to visit.
Hey everyone, it's Alexa. Welcome back to Talltanic.
Island living makes one think of crystal clear waters, gorgeous sunsets, and pina coladas. But is it like that on every island? Probably not, but the ones we're going to share with you will certainly fulfill your island fantasies.
If you're new here, make sure that you're subscribed and ring the bell so that you never miss our brand new content.
Lanai Hawaii. Hawaii is a place of dreams. You can't really go wrong wherever you set foot on the beautiful island kingdom. From azure oceans to sea turtles, hula dancing to lush rainforests, it feels as if it was made to receive the weary with gentleness and warmth. Hawaii has also been developed with tourists in mind. The upside is that there's never a dull moment and you won't be at a loss for amazing things to do. The downside is that the main islands like Oahu or Maui are really busy and built up. To avoid the crowds and return back to the quieter side of what made Hawaii the attraction it is, seek out some of the less peopled islands. Lanai is one of them. It won't come cheap. The island of Lanai is literally known as a rich man's playground, but if you can stretch yourself a little, you will have a completely different Hawaiian experience to what the busy promenades of Oahu offers. Lanai only has a population of 3,200 people, so if it's solitude you want, there's more chance of you finding it here. The island still offers some decent activities, like exploring the island off-road on a four-wheel drive expedition or experiencing the underwater abundance of the island's pristine dive spots. Beaches are far quieter as Lanai only has one chain hotel and then a few guest houses, so you can find your own piece of paradise on the white sandy beaches without being on top of someone else. The island is also known for the Manele Golf Course, which boasts incredible views of the ocean. Christmas Island, Australia. Christmas Island is the summit of a submerged mountain that was discovered in the Indian Ocean on Christmas Day 1643, hence, the name. The island is closer to Indonesia than Australia though, so if you plan a trip, be sure to look up its location before you buy your flights to Sydney. Marketing for the island sports all the must-haves of paradise: unspoiled rainforests, white sandy beaches, amazing diving, abundant bird life, and a mass crab migration. Wait, back up to the crab bit. So it turns out that once a year, 120 million red crabs follow the phases of the moon and in unison all pour out of the rainforest into the sea to breed, like a red crab lava flow. Other than that, you can enjoy endless hiking as 63% of the island is a protected national park that has never been disrupted by development. The island is known for bird watching and 80,000 sea birds nest throughout the island. Dive one of the dive sites or join the whale sharks from November to April when they also visit Christmas Island. Waigeo, Indonesia. If you're into snorkeling or scuba, then Waigeo is the island for you. It's one of the 4 islands that boast the best marine biodiversity in the world, an area called the Raka Ampat Regency in Indonesia. It is rich in coral reefs bursting with marine life, as well as many species you can only see around these islands. Waigeo and the other islands in the group are remote, and that's a huge part of its appeal. It is an island to arrive, drop your bags, and switch off. You can even opt to camp within the island's forests. The stars shine brighter, the beach sand is whiter, and the ocean sounds and birdsong are the only noise you'll hear. Fernando de Noronha, Brazil. Fernando de Noronha Archipelago is a 21-island eco-paradise, 350 kilometers from the Brazilian mainland and just south of the equator. 70% of Noronha is protected in a national park, and visitors must pay a mandatory environment protection tax upon arrival. The results of the protection are evident in the clean and crystal clear emerald waters. These waters are incredibly important for the feeding and breeding of shark, turtle, and tuna. Plus, it has the largest concentration of tropical seabirds in the Western Atlantic. The beaches are beautiful examples of Brazil's white sand, blue seas paradise, with the added bonus of daily visits by spinner dolphins. Visitors can dive with lemon and nurse sharks, which are 2 harmless varieties of shark, and an abundance of reef fish. The unspoiled nature of the 21 islands make it a hiker's paradise, and the Esmeralda Coast Trail is one of the most well-known. You can also take the path to Pedra Alta Little Point, to the oldest shipwreck in Brazil. If you're lucky enough to be there off-season, December to July, you might even catch turtles hatching. Lemnos, Greece. From the gateway of Kavala, head to the remote island of Lemnos in the Aegean Sea. It might take a few ferry hops, but it'll be worth it if you're looking for something different. Lemnos is called the Island of Hephaestus and has historical sites worth a visit. The Kebaroi Sanctuary, the ancient theater from Hephaestia, and the prehistoric site of Poliachni. Their locations alone are worth the visit, each tucked into picturesque coves, giving visitors insight into the ancient world that once was. Murina is the capital of the island, a town with an ancient hilltop fortress that overlooks the ancient and modern parts of the town. Walk the promenade along the beaches for a great view of the nearby kite surfers on a windy day. Being a windy island, windmills have always been a part of daily life. Nowadays, the old stone windmills stand as museums, and some have been repurposed into hotels. The small town of Mudros is worth a visit while you're here. The tiny fishing port shows example of the typical stone houses of years gone by. Dahlak Archipelago, Eritrea. Of the 200 islands that make up the Dahlak Archipelago in the Red Sea, only 4 are inhabited and wonderfully protected as national park. The beautifully protected area still has a few locals surviving by the traditional methods of subsistence living. From camel rearing to traditional fishing and goat herding, the rest of the islands are left to their own devices and are rich in natural resources and abundant wildlife. Because of the war with Ethiopia, fishing was halted in the area for many years, so this gave the marine life a huge advantage to repopulate without threat, and that is just what it has done. Another reminder of the war is the sunken military hardware and ships that have formed man-made reefs around the island that have become populated with the thriving marine life. Corals, turtles, and rays can all be spotted even when snorkeling the shallow wreck reefs. Oshima, Japan. If you are a lover of contemporary art and modern architecture, then this will be your island paradise. The small island of Oshima in Japan is crammed with art and architecture to create an art world wonderland for anyone who sets foot on its shores. One of the most famous pieces is Yayoi Kusama's polka dot yellow pumpkin, her first outdoor installation. It sits on the beach on the south side of the island, and it's far from the only treasure of its kind. The island is littered with buildings designed by Tadao Ando, including the Ando Museum, Benesi House Museum, and the Li U Fan Museum. The Chichi Art Museum also houses Claude Monet's Water Lily series. Ando's goal was to ensure the buildings blended into the earth or were built into the earth, which is also why the island is often called Ando Island. Culebra, Puerto Rico. In 1909, Theodore Roosevelt Jr. established the Culebra National Wildlife Refuge on the island of Culebra. Today, it's one of the oldest bird sanctuaries in the USA, and it's home to 50,000 seabirds, including sooty tern, brown noddies, and bridled tern. It's also a haven for marine life and is a mecca for turtle viewing. Take a snorkel and you might spot leatherback, green, and hawksbill turtles swimming in the crystal clear waters. The diving, in general, is spectacular, whether snorkeling or scuba diving. For land lovers, there are beautiful hikes that will take you to deserted beaches, like Brava Beach. Ela Grande, Brazil. Ela Grande is a mountainous island that feels like heaven touches the earth. It's a combination of rich, mountainous rainforests running into white, sandy beaches. The island has no cars on it, so park your car at the nearest ferry and just enjoy the natural glory. To get around, you have 2 options: boat from beach to beach, or walk. It's idyllic living. Ela Grande is a short boat trip from Rio de Janeiro and has had a colorful past. It was a hideout for pirates and enjoyed the status of a quarantine outpost before being a penal colony. Luckily, this history of unsavory inhabitants have left it unspoiled, and there has been very little development to ruin the natural landscape. The island has 100 beaches, including the most popular, which is Praia Lopes Mendes, known as one of the most beautiful beaches in Brazil. It's 3 kilometers of soft sand, clean, clear water, no developments, and great waves. To get there, you can choose the high road or the wild road, a 6-kilometer hike through the rainforest, passing other small beaches as you go. If you need more adventure, keep crisscrossing back and forth across the island to explore more of the beaches, or climb up Parrot Peak for a grand view. Have you ever been fortunate enough to spend time on any of these islands? Which one would be your first choice? Let me know in the comments below. 1. Bikini Atoll, Micronesian island. The name maybe conjures up an island from the movies, where gorgeous women are tanning in bikinis and the men are buff and showing off, but time to get your head out of the gutter because this island is anything but. Bikini Atoll is part of a Micronesian island chain sitting around halfway between Hawaii and Australia. The difference between this island and the others? This is one not safe to visit, and here's why. In 1946, the US forced all the residents to relocate off the island. Then, over the next 12 years, the US let off 23 devastating nuclear explosions onto the island, leaving it uninhabitable, even today. If you were to fly over the island, you would see a lush green paradise, and it's hard to imagine that it's not safe to live there anymore. You can still spot the odd remains of a few buildings from up in the air. The first blast that erupted contaminated 23 people on board a Japanese fishing boat, despite them supposedly being at a safe distance. This event was said to inspire the movie Godzilla, where a radioactive beast rises from a US nuclear test and goes on to strike Japan. If you head into the depths of those crystal clear, inviting waters, you'll find the remains of many Navy vessels and ships, and the whole area is a marine graveyard. In 1968, the US declared the islands safe again, and the families returned to the island. Sadly, the radiation levels and chemical strains were not at all a safe level, and the people had to be removed again. The US has been compensating the survivors, as the chances of them going back home again are slim. The island has mostly been left to its own devices. As of 2013, around 4,800 people who lived on Bikini were living on Kili and Marshall Islands, which a few had emigrated to the US. A few scientists head to the area each year, and there are 4 or 6 caretakers living on the island permanently. When radiation levels were tested in 2016, they were still considered too high for the residents to move back to the island they used to call home.